Mr. Rainsby here to go over the concept that deals with intervals of increasing, decreasing, and extrema. So when we're dealing with increasing and decreasing, we state our answers based off of x values. What x values is the polynomial increasing or decreasing for? For our extrema, our maxes, mins, whether they're global or local, we always write our answers as coordinates. Now, the easier of the two concepts to deal with are the maxes and the mins, the idea of global and local maxes and mins. Those are written as coordinates. So you can see I have that line over there. That's meant to kind of show us that the way we show our work for maxes or mins, or the way we write our work for maxes and mins, is different than the way we write it for our intervals of increasing and decreasing. So global means the absolute highest or the absolute lowest. So global max, absolute highest, it will not go above that point. Global min, absolute lowest, it will not go below that point. So if I take a look at this graph, one thing that's really interesting is if you look at it, you have two arrows pointing down forever. That means there is no global minimum. It is going down forever, which means there is no global minimum, none. However, I do notice this point. I can see right here that this point is going to be a minimum. But the problem is, it's not global, it's local. So if I take a look at that, that looks like the coordinate 1, -3. So it has 1, -3 as a local minimum. So there's no global, but there is a local. And that's what you have to keep in mind. If arrows are pointing the same direction, that's kind of a tip. If arrows are pointing the same direction, there's no global in that case. Now there is, if you look at it right here, there is a global max. Because there is an absolute highest point it hits. It does not go beyond that height right there. And that looks like it is 4. So it looks like the coordinate is -3, 4. That's for a global max. That is the absolute highest it goes. However, if I look further to the right, I can see that there is another maximum over there. It's, right there, it still hits another high point. So this is going to be a local maximum for me because it does go beyond that max over to the left-hand side here. There is a global, but it's still a maximum point. And that looks like it's coordinate 1, 2, 3, 5, 2 maybe. And so that is a local max at the coordinate 5, 2. So if we take a look at it, that's the difference between global and local. If arrows are pointing the same direction, there's no global in that direction. So since both arrows are pointing down, there's no global minimum. If both arrows are pointing up, there would not be a global maximum. So now that part usually makes sense for some people. The main idea is make sure you give me the coordinates. That's where people have been making some mistakes. Now, increasing and decreasing. There are some issues that people are having with those, and it's understandable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of help us out a little bit. Let's change from red so it doesn't look like it's only dealing with increase and decrease, and let's just go to pink. And so if I have this, I'm going to take where my maxes and my mins are. Because a max or min occurs when you change from increasing to decreasing or decreasing to increasing. So the name itself kind of helps us out. So I'm going to kind of draw some vertical lines to kind of help us. Now, if I were to take a look at this, those vertical lines go through certain x values. In this case, it goes through -3 there. It goes through 1 here. And it goes through 5 here. So the problems I'm going to figure out is where am I increasing or decreasing? Well, if I take a look, the graph is going up here. It is increasing on that area. If you were to imagine that curve folding or collapsing, whatever you want to say, on the x-axis, it would be right here to here. It'd be going to the left forever, -infinity, but it would stop at -3. So it's increasing from -infinity to -3. Where else is it increasing at? Well, it looks like it's increasing. It's going up over in this area. It's increasing between 1 and 5. I can see that. I can see it's increasing from 1 to 5 in that region. So I'm going to say and from 1 to 5. So that's interval notation. Interval notation does not use brackets because they're not included. If I wanted to write it as an inequality, I could say x is less than -3 and x is between 1 and 5. Again, no or equals to. It's just the number that's less than, all numbers less than -3. Doesn't include it. That's your increasing. But that allows me to see the gaps in between. In this case, I will change to red. I can see that between -3 and 1, my graph is decreasing. And from 5 to infinity, it's decreasing as well. So I can write that in interval notation. I could say, okay, from -3 to 1, it's decreasing, and from 5 to infinity. I could write that also as an inequality. I can say that I have x is between -3 and 1, and x is greater than 5. Those are increasing and decreasing. So if you're struggling with increasing and decreasing, maybe drawing those vertical dash bars or kind of going through the maxes and the mins might help you understand what's going on. And we do have another practice one to kind of go through. So if we take a look at this, what you can do is you can pause the video, and I will just, in a couple seconds, project the answer for you. So here we are. We have, over on the side, we can see that there's an increasing interval and there's a decreasing interval. The increasing is from -infinity to -3 and from 0 to infinity. The decreasing interval is between -3 and 0. Hopefully you can see that with the highlighted parts down here. Notice I have the vertical dashed lines to kind of show you that they go through the max and mins, which separates the increasing and the decreasing. Again, I think that might help some of you out with understanding how to use the notation. The arrows are pointing in opposite directions, by the way. So it's going up forever and it's going down forever, which means there's no global max and there's no global min. There's only locals. So you can see the answers. Hopefully this video helped you understand the material a little bit better.